Lecture 4 of AutoCAD Introduction. And in this lecture, we're going to go over the move command, rotate, align, mirror, reverse, array, and grips. Now, like I said before, with all of these commands in the lecture demos, I'm going to give you a personal AutoCAD demo of each one of these. So let's go through them. Okay, so with the move and copy command, these commands are exactly like each other, except for one of them, you're going to take an object and you're going to move it from one location to another. With the copy command, you're just going to create a copy of it. So I'm going to grab that object and I'm going to create a copy of it, and I can make multiple copies of it. When you're using both of these commands, the most important thing to remember is my base point. So when I'm selecting a base point, I got to kind of figure out what I want to do. If I'm moving it along a distance, the base point is really not important, because no matter what point you select, that distance is always going to be displaced from that point. But now if I'm moving it to a location, to another location that's specific, for example, over here, if I'm grabbing a circle and I want to move it along to next to another circle, well, I don't know that distance, but I do know those O-snaps. So that's when I have to really think about what base point that I want to use. So you're always thinking of what the end result is, that when you're selecting your base point, or whether to select one or not. Okay, with the rotate command, the base point is important and very important, because you want to select the base point that's going to be your center of revolution. So for example, on this little big picture I have here, where I have this node located at, that's going to be my point of revolution. So for example, I have a line and I want to rotate it up 45 degrees. My base point is going to be here if I want it to spin off of that point. Okay, the align command. The align command is basically used to align two objects at the same angle. So I have one line at one angle and I have another object that I want to match to it. I can use the align command. One other option in the align command is going to ask you, do you want to scale that object to match it? So if those lines or something are two different distances, I can rotate it up and scale it up, all with this one command in one shot. So it's a real neat command on how to use that one. The mirror command, one of the more important things to understand in this one is going to be the lines of symmetry. So if you want to create something and then you want to make a mirror copy of it, you have to understand where the line of symmetry is. For example, in this case, if you want to draw half of this, I know that the line of symmetry is in the middle. So when I mirror this across, it will create the other half of this for me. And I will go into very detail showing you that. But when you're using this command, make sure you understand what the line of symmetry is, or can I make a line of symmetry, or something that I'm going to need to create the other half of it. This command is really useful when you only want to create half of something, and then just let AutoCAD mirror the other half and do all the other work for you. The reverse command is one of these commands that I typically don't use a lot of. In the example in your lecture demos, I used a water line or a gas line, I can't remember. But what I did was I was able to reverse the direction of the words and things of that nature. And that's typically what I've used the reverse command for. But there are a lot of other uses for you. You're more than welcome to look through the text and find some other uses for it. But it is a very useful command, especially when you're dealing with polylines or splines or things of that nature. Okay, the array command. The array command is one of these powerful commands that allow you to start with something small and create a lot of other objects. So for example, there are three types of arrays. The first two are going to be the rectangular and polar. By far, these two are going to be used more than any other one, more than the other one. With the rectangular one, I have to know the rows and the columns. And with the polar one, once again, I have to know where the center point is and how many objects I want to go around it. So we're going to use both of these commands, and I know we have a few more examples of how to use both of these, but I like using both of these. They're very useful of creating a whole lot of objects really quick, and it allows you to stop from, and if you think about it, it can actually save you a lot more work. The other array command is going to be the path array. Now if I have a path, which is going to be this spline, and I have a line, I can create this line and tell it to create an array along that path, and it will do that. And then you have some different options that will allow you to keep them straight, or you can have them flex with your array. So the 3 array commands are going to be your rectangular, polar, and path. With the grips are really useful because it has a lot of commands inside of one, and you're already doing some of these things as you look at them. So when you select on an object, you notice that you'll get these grips that show up. Now, what these colors are telling me is that if I don't select anything, they'll come in as blue. They're inactive. So basically, they're just there as references. The minute I just hover over one of them, you'll notice that it should turn a kind of pink color. That's referring to as a warm grip. So it's not active. It's one of them that you can select. So what it's doing is saying, okay, I have that one locked in, but I'm not selecting it yet. Once you click on that grip, it becomes hot. So it's an active grip at that point. And what I mean by an active grip is now I can utilize those commands that are going to be inside of these grip functions. Right here are the settings of where those colors are coming from, and they're located underneath the settings. I would recommend that you leave them the way they are because it's kind of easy to understand that you got a cold grip, a warm grip, and a hot grip. Okay, so once I select it and I have a hot grip, then I can cycle through these commands that are inside the grip command. So I can either stretch, move, rotate, scale, or mirror. Now also with the move option, you have a copy function inside of that. So just because it's a move/copy. And in all of these, actually I have a copy function. So I can scale an object and I can copy it at the same time. Once again, you got the mirror and you can create the copy side of it. So all of these commands are going to be located inside of that grips command. This is really useful to stop on your keystrokes. I use it a lot. So I can do a whole entire drawing with using grips without having me going up and selecting it on the ribbon. So I prefer that, if you have time and you want to use grips more, definitely try to incorporate grips in most of your drawing stuff that you start doing.